Welcome, welcome, welcome. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, and thank you for joining the 980s podcast hosted by Kevin Thompson of 980s Capital Group, RICP, CFP. I wanted to talk to you guys a little bit about the markets and what's really going on right now. There's a lot of crazy things and a lot of different sectors and different stocks that I want you guys to understand wholeheartedly. So before I get started, don't forget to go to my website, www.98capitalgroup.com. Buy my book, MLB to CFP, a story about my life in the major leagues and how I come about in 980s Capital Group. But today we are here to talk about these markets, these crazy, crazy times, short sellers, hedge funds, you name it. Let's get started. So I get a lot of questions about what's going on in today's market. Kevin, how can stock XYZ go up from said $70 all the way to $450 in a matter of a couple of days? That's a great question, and I have all your answers here on the 980s podcast. Step one, in this world, you have this thing called short sellers. Short sellers are people who want to sell a stock short. They actually borrow your shares as a retail investor, your shares at the broker dealer, and sell those shares short in the market. What does that mean? They're betting that company is going to go down. You have to be very, very smart and do a lot of due diligence to go on the other side of the trade. Why is that? Well, because there's an unlimited amount of upside in every single stock, and there's a limited amount of downside in every single stock. A stock can only go to zero, right? A stock can only go to zero, but a stock can actually go to infinity on the other side of the fence. So you have to have very, very good knowledge and know exactly what you're doing if you're going to short a stock. That's part one. Part two, a lot of hedge funds do this practice. Some of them are long short, some are event driven. So depending on their strategy, some of them have a long part of the portfolio and a short part of the portfolio. So when that happens, traditionally what you're seeing, especially in today's market with stock XYZ and stock ABC, you're seeing what was known as short covering. What is short covering? So if I'm short a stock, right? I am borrowing shares from the broker dealer. I'm selling the stock short. So if I sell the stock short, I want the stock to go down. Now, if it starts to go the other direction and roll against me, I have to do what? Buy to cover. I have to buy that stock back. And ultimately what happens is the share price starts to move up because I'm buying all of those shares back to cover my short. So what you're seeing in today's world is that you're seeing a lot of investors, retail investors as well, go into certain positions and buy companies. Those retail investors, and there's also some big money guys out there playing this game as well. So don't get confused on that. They're forcing the hands of some of these fund companies that are forcing their hands to buy to cover. What does that mean? Well, that means there's some overly inflated positions and some overly inflated stocks out there that will most likely come down in the future. However, the game is afoot. Now people are gaming these companies and thinking it's a pretty good deal to try to make some quick money. So let me tell you why it may or may not be a good deal. One, eventually someone's going to be left holding the bag. In our industry, we call that holding the bag, as in, hey, someone top ticked this at 480, 490, 500. The next thing you know, boom, you're waiting for it to come back. And you're seeing your money depreciate every single day. That's part one. Part two, outside of just holding the bag, the big guys who, quote unquote, are the people that they're trying to attack, are the people that the little guy is trying to put back in a corner. That's not working. Let me tell you why it's not working. You may think you're doing a good deed and trying to put on your Captain America badge of honor, but guess what? You're only hurting the shareholders. You're only hurting the people that are legitimately trying to make money in this game for their shareholders. For example, there's a company out there, I'm not going to name any names. It just raised $1 billion using shareholder wealth, using investor capital. The same people that are attacking these companies, they just use your money to raise capital. And who do you think they're raising capital for? For the little guys? Absolutely not. They're raising capital for the big guys who own them, the venture capitalists who gave them money to start their business, to save their investment. So I want to be very clear on what's really happening in the market. It's not big versus small, winners and losers. It's just about what's really happening in regards to the shorts versus the longs. The shorts have absolutely been squeezed in a lot of these different companies. There's companies that are people actually looking out to see, hey, how is this a 26% short float? If that's the case, let's go ahead and attack it. It just seems to me that there needs to be an understanding of really what's going on and why things are happening. And I'm trying to explain that to you today. So we talked about short covering. We talked about some big funds that are actually buying to cover their shorts. And that's the reason why some of the stocks are going up. There's also forums out there where a lot of individual investors get together and have conversations about stocks. Of course, I'm not going to be on any of those forums. I have a FINRA SEC. I have to follow those guidelines. But there's open conversations and dialogue about doing stuff to different companies and going in and basically manipulating stock prices. Be very careful because that will come back eventually. The SEC and all these companies have your data. They have the chat room data. So they're going to come back. They're going to gather all that data, do all their investigative reporting, and come back on whoever made money, probably make you pay it back. I hope everyone understands that this is not a game. In the stock market, this is real money. This is real people's lives. People have built great companies here in the United States, domestically, abroad. And this is not a game where we're going to just act like a company that has zero ability to even be in existence. Their price should be 300x. Doesn't make sense. So be very careful on what's really going on. So let me do a conclusion so everybody understands. One, this is all short covering in a lot of hedge funds. Not just hedge funds, but people who have been short the stocks. A lot of the stocks that were being targeted were heavily shorted companies that had bad business models and had negative EBITDA. Very low earnings, slightly to negative. So these companies that were actually being shorted now have the ability to do what? Higher stock prices. Let's go raise capital. Raising capital for terrible companies at a high price doesn't make good business sense in regards to what we're trying to accomplish from a overall economic standpoint. From a business standpoint, for that company, I applaud you. For an economic standpoint, for a company that should not be in existence because it has refused to reorganize and become a viable business, not too good. Lastly, I hope everyone takes this conversation I'm having today here at Kevin Thompson 90 Capital Group to heart, because I want everybody to be safe in the stock market. This is not a game. Eventually, what's going to happen, what's eventually going to happen is that everyone who's doing these things right now eventually have to go back to work. And there's people like myself and other individuals out there that do this for a living. So what does that mean? While you're working, we're in the markets. While you're sleeping, we're in the markets. This is what we do 24 hours a day, 5 days a week, all day long. I hope everybody goes into the market, enjoys it, and is very, very safe. But just be very careful on the volatility that you're seeing at this current time. Thank you guys for joining us. Thank you guys for just listening. I had to get that off my chest. This is Kevin Thompson, 98 Capital Group. Go to my website, www.98capitalgroup.com. Please, please, please don't hesitate to buy my book. I think it's very exciting. Of course, I wrote it, so it has to be good. So, but thank you guys. We're here to educate, empower, and engage. Stay humble and stay safe.